Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hello to everybody out there, all you crazy business owners. It's great to see you. There we go. Excellent. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is currently 9:02 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Good to see y'all. All right, let's get some stuff going here. All right. Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Built to Exit with me, your humble host, Jason Cisneros, where we talk about all things business, where we are specifically talking to business owners that understand our tagline that we realized many years ago, which is everybody exits, how matters. Just a small little snippet of understanding that your business should be being built for somebody else to own, whether that's your kids, whether that's the next buyer, et cetera, et cetera. And there's a whole different skill set that starts with a mindset where you, as the business owner, you shift from, okay, I'm going to optimize my business for cash flow. And then the next step is next natural evolution. The next perspective shift that you should be focused on is I'm going to prep my company up for the next owner because everybody exits. So, welcome to the new viewers. It's great to have you all with us. And to my dedicated followers and people that have followed this show for years, welcome back. And thank you all for sharing the show out as you have been. It's getting some traction. This message of really sell side advocacy, right? On making sure that this show is something that is backing you up, helping you along the way. We do give out a lot of information on what you can do, physical things to do in your business to prep yourself up for sale and to be more profitable along the way, how to, hire employees, a lot of that type of stuff. We do spend quite a bit of time on the idea of belief shifting because most business owners are where they are because of the set of beliefs that they have currently. The world is this way, business is this way, roofing is this way, HVAC is this way, or whatever the business that you happen to have. And the best in business, and that's really kind of what we're going to talk about in this particular show, the best in business decide to think differently. They innovate. They become unique in their business. If you're competing and doing the same things that your competitors are doing, you're going to be in the middle, and that middle is disappearing, right? There's a lot of people at the bottom, and there's been a bunch of people in the middle that have been able to get by, just sort of doing the right things. And then you've got the top, the people that are ready to exit. And that doesn't mean you have to exit. Being built to exit doesn't mean you have to exit. It just means that you now have the choice to be able to leave your business or for a vacation even without it going down. Matter of fact, it should be going up without you being there. Secondarily to that, nobody wants to buy you. When somebody is looking to buy your business, nobody wants to buy you. They don't. They want to buy a system that they have certainty in that will live beyond you when you leave, that it'll continue to make them money, that it'll continue to grow, that it'll continue, that it will safeguard the money that they're putting in to buy the business, that they'll get it back and then they'll make a return on that. And them themselves will be in a position to sell that company later on down the road. That does not happen with the way that 90% of businesses are built today by business owners. It happens when you build a machine that is created to produce cash repetitively. So that is what this show is about. We love you. I absolutely adore my small and mid-sized business owner family. We've been on the road for quite a bit. We still have 2 more events left in 2025, and then a whole stack of places that we're going to be in 2026. So we'll be in Fort Lauderdale on the 6th of December, and we will be in Atlanta on the 12th and 13th for a great event called The Forge. So hope to see you there. But let's get into this. This small business exit boom. Um, Here's my theory, and I'm going to do a show on this with an economist friend of mine, and then another political friend that I have. In the next probably 4 to 5 weeks, I'm going to be doing a show that dives into what I'm about to say. But those of you that are watching what's going on in our economy, those of you that are watching what's going on, it's kind of intermixed now with business and politics and economics and policy and interest rates. And, there's a whole bunch of stuff that you have to pay attention to. You have to be, if you're going to be in that 5% that don't fail, right? 95% of companies that start today will not be in business 10 years from now. And so if you're going to be a part of that 5%, you have to think like those 5%ers, which means you have to take an outward look. You have to look at geopolitical issues. You have to look at economics. You have to look at which way the political winds are blowing. You have to look at a lot of things outside of, how do I get my employees to show up? How do I get them to go do what they're supposed to do? How do I collect the money from my clients? All those types of things. You have to pay attention to those types of things. Now, obviously, you got to get that internal stuff built up correctly. But I want to talk a little bit about what we're seeing in the economy. And again, I've got a thesis on this. I've got an opinion. I've been watching key indicators along the way. And I've got some backup for what I'm about to say. But for the purpose of this show, I want you to just get the gist of where I'm coming from. And what I see happening in the world economy is, for the better part of 30 to 40 years, I believe that unethical capitalism has kind of coordinated with, unethical politicians, and there's been a lot of tax money and policy and whatnot that has benefited the tippity top. And all of that could only happen because of small and mid-sized business owners, us, the people that make the economy. $17 trillion, 60% of the jobs, 90% of the jobs, 60% of the hiring. It's built on that. That is what it's called production. And then there's been a whole swath of really cooking the books kind of things. And again, this is not to get political, but it's just to say, where has the money been going? And it's been advantaging those that play the game off of the backs of production. And I believe that small and mid-sized business owners are by far and away the greatest form of production in our country. Well, what's happening right now is those doorways are being shut. They're finding themselves unsustainable. The guesswork and the speculation, it's not creating any true value. All it is trading dollars up out of the pockets of people that work hard into the pockets of people who know how to steal money. So that is the thesis for where I'm going. And there's lots of evidence for that. Well, what's happening is those doors are shutting, which means that it has to fall back to what Warren Buffett says. When the tide flows out, you see who's swimming naked. And when that tide flows out, it has to go back to production. It has to go back to the widespread production that we have called small and mid-sized business owners, the 33 million of us that are here in this country. And it has to flow back because that's the only way that it's sustainable. Those local dollars, the local taxes, all of the things that work together economically. If you read F.A. Hayek's book, the Constitution of Liberty, which I highly suggest everybody does, that is the core of a solid economy in a democratic republic that we find ourselves in. So all of that to be said is that it looks to the rest of the world like the economy is contracting or in at least unstable. And to me, I'm on the ground. I'm on Main Street. I'm with y'all. I'm out in the world. We own businesses. We're selling businesses. We're buying businesses. We see it. And what I see is a strengthening for small and mid-sized business owners and capital flowing back to those businesses, because private equity is the greatest investment that has happened to this country in the last 40 years. Why? Because private equity invests in small and mid-sized businesses. We are the cornerstone. We are that base, that hard place where everything else is built off of. And in turn, everybody has their hands in our pockets, and taxes and attorneys and all of the stuff. So with that in mind, it may look like it's a global weakening of the economy, but what's happening, in my opinion, is corrupt money is being swept off the table, and money is now flowing to production. It's looking for places where we can increase our productivity, where businesses, small and mid-sized businesses, can now take advantage of big time tools like artificial intelligence, like the internet, with marketing and all of the other things that we can take advantage of. And by the way, bond together and do business with each other. That is where the economy is going. Yes, it looks unstable. Yes, it looks like it's contracting, but for the most part, it's doing a reset like it did back in the 70s and did back in the 80s. Speculation runs wild. That goes nowhere because it's unsustainable. And then it flows back to what you and I do on a day-to-day basis, which is fall in love with our customers' outcome and serve them better than my competition, so that I get referrals, so that we make profitability, so that we can pay employees, so that we can pay taxes, all of those things that flow together into what we do. And so for the last 4, 8, whatever years it is, Wall Street has made their millions on speculation. And a lot of people have money in speculative investments right now. I'm talking to the small and mid-sized business owner who is thinking about and discipline in a disciplined way, executing on principles, business building principles, the bedrock for which I believe, as long as we have the protections that we have for small and mid-sized business owners to operate, that diversified finance that we have, that is just unbelievable. It's an unbelievable gift to us that none of us earned, but keeping that alive and having that solidification, it'll come back to us and those business owners who are building their businesses methodically and mechanically to be profitable and to be set on principles, business principles. So talk about before 1970, as I was saying, the worldwide shifts that we're experiencing, that's not new. Inflation, tech disruption, political chaos. It's nothing new. And if you watch that wave go in and out, we're just back in one of those areas where it's going back to production. And that is exciting for small and mid-sized business owners like you. So here's the deal. We're paying attention. There's 4 or 5 things, and I want to make sure that I hit them today, and I don't go off on one of my left turn tangents. But I want you to start focusing. A couple of the things that I want to leave you with today. Number 1 is I want you to pay attention to what everybody's saying. Increase or expand your level of intake and input, right? Whether that's on Twitter, whether that's the Wall Street Journal, find some new form of information. We put out a killer newsletter every week where we go out and we scour the internet for things that will specifically and impact small and mid-sized businesses. So if you want to get on that, just reach out to us on jasoncisneros.com or builttoexit.biz, one of those two, and we'll get you on that list. It does a lot of the research for you. It gives you a wide spectrum of information. I'm not one of those people that says you get your information from one place, you must believe one thing. We, as a successful business owner yourself, you've got to widen that field of understanding, that input of information. You've got to widen it. Even if you don't agree with all of those inputs, you have to widen your content absorption and make it intentional, right? Don't spend hours and hours doom scrolling on Instagram, if you're a professional, you need to believe and absorb and research and find information that is relevant to your outcome. And your outcome, if you haven't heard me say it before, your outcome as a business owner is simply to set yourself free financially, right? Whatever comes after that, do more business, start a charity, sail the 7 seas with you and your loved one, whatever that happens to be with you. It's widening that scope of information so that you're not just getting it from the right, the left, the center, somebody with an agenda, speculative information, all of those things. Make sure that you get a wide array of information. Second point that I want to make is that the days of being rewarded for trying hard, they're gone. Just because you work hard. Think about this. Everybody that you know, whether they have a job or a business, whether they're successful, whether they're challenged financially, everybody is working hard, right? That the credit for that is no longer a benefit, right? You hear the common terms for when somebody is trying hard is I'm busy. I'm busy. I'm busy. Whenever I hear I'm busy, I hear disorganized. I hear that there's not a target that they're after. I hear in their voice and in their comments, I hear that they haven't set a specific number for their exit and that they're methodically getting there. They're methodically stacking cash. They're methodically stacking profits. They're methodically looking at what they do. I just did an interview that'll be live, I think next week or the week after, with one of our clients, Bada Fulkerson, out of it's a law firm out of San Diego. And we had a great conversation about this exact subject in that interview, about the fact that when he met us, and we met each other, he was trying hard. He was doing, he was working hard. He had him and 2 other attorneys, and he had 2 or 3 or 4 employees at the time when we met him. And what we did was, and he had that mindset, right? He had that mindset that I'm doing really well. For him, he was doing $5-10 million a year with his firm in San Diego, doing a good job, right? But he was trying hard. And in our conversations, you'll get to see the interview. But now you fast forward 6 years later of him not trying hard, but executing smartly on a plan with systems and processes and building assets in his business. Not only is his firm gone from $5 to $10 million with those 7 employees, now he's over $100 million a year with 50 employees. And on top of that, because he learned the methodology of how to build his business, he now has 2 other very successful businesses outside of his $100 million a year law firm with 3 locations and 50 employees. So if you are rewarding yourself, or you have a belief that you are trying hard and that is something that you can bank on, you got to shift your understanding. You got to become a professional. You've got to really focus in, because I'm telling you, the opportunities for our community are going to be massive over the next, I would say, 2 to 3 years, for sure. And maybe beyond that, because it's a resetting of the economy. No more speculation, no more dirty money, no more, there's always going to be that stuff, but you understand what I'm saying. It can't sustain. No business, no company. Every empire has fallen and failed at the bank. Everybody's like free speech and wars and all this. Everything comes back down to this, a diversified ability for us to be able to get and make money for us and our families. So the try hard, put it off the table and start to understand not just the fortune cookie view of thinking about things like but don't work hard, work smart. No, not dig deeper into why that cookie cutter phrase has been around for so long. It means learn the methodology, get professional, watch the podcasts that we've done, look at what are the things that you can do methodically in your business to get better every single day. You're going to be the ones that not only succeed, but thrive during the coming years. Second one, I mentioned it a little bit. You can't hide in the middle anymore. The safe zone is gone. decent marketing, okay leadership, pretty good systems. They don't survive in a world that is competitive. Your competitors are looking to convince and do business with your customers, and they're getting better and better and better and better at it. You need to get better and better and better at it at a faster pace, right? If you're in the middle, you're invisible. There's a saying that the only thing in the middle of the road is roadkill. So think of it that way when you're thinking about it. Fourth piece is, I want you to think about and go through your business and find out exactly where you are leaking productivity, profitability, reputation, referrals. I want you to go through your business and do an inventory, because at the end of the day, you know where you're leaking, right? You know if you need to hire somebody. You know if you're spending too much money on stuff that you shouldn't be spending it on. You know where you're failing on your operations side. You know inherently where your business is leaking opportunity, innovation, profitability, free cash flow, those types of things. The underperforming employee that you might be protecting, the messy books, for you to start to understand your financials at a higher level, because that's the language that your business speaks, understanding those books. The operational bottleneck that you know is probably you, right? Most of the time, before we make that switch from being a mom and pop shop to being a professional organization that someday can be acquired, is, generally speaking, I would say in the high 80s, low 90% of the time, it's always the business owner. Okay. Last piece, or one of the last pieces, is that you can feel right now, because it happens every so often, economics, business is cyclical, right? And you can kind of feel what's going on right now. And you could kind of feel like, I remember back when social media was coming around, and I felt that window opening of, oh, that might be something, but I don't think, like, social media, who's going to be spending time and on there and like putting cat pictures, and that I missed that. I missed a big wave in social media, because I was focused on, because at the time, this is many, many years ago, obviously, but I was focused on the fact that, because it was the same yesterday, it's going to be the same tomorrow. You can feel that window closing. We do have a new technology out there called AI. We do have competition with these large corporations. We have the BlackRocks. We have these big companies that have way overstepped antitrust type of behaviors. All of that is going to get settled one way or the other. Now, there may be a major crash that happens. There may be whatever. It happens throughout history. It'll happen again. I don't know when, but I do know that whenever this correction happens, it is going to be like a golden age for small and mid-sized business owners that are prepared and ready for it. Okay. So that window, you can feel it kind of opening in one area. You can feel it closing in the other. Go towards that open window. And last piece, one of the last pieces is that you already know what happens if you don't make a decision. You already know what happens if you stay put. You already know what happens. The one constant in all of our businesses is change. And again, that's a fortune cookie thing that a lot of people say, but when you dig deeper and you look into your own life, you know this is true. A business that is open is solving problems. Right? A lot of people are like, I want my business to not have any problems. That is the silliest thing, the silliest belief that we can adopt. We want problems in our business, because a business that is not solving problems is a business that is out of business, right? So you want to be solving problems, but you don't want to fall in love with your product or service. You want to fall in love with the outcome of your target audience. The marketplace is thirsty and desperate for real. Like, I'm a real boy, right? The marketplace, people in general, which is all the marketplace is looking for people who look like their actual picture, who have done the things that they say they're going to do, who have written things from their heart and from their own mouth, whether it be mistaken or less polished or whatever. People are desperate for your real, flaws included, by the way, flaws included. So that's one of those windows that you're going to be able to walk through while the world is going crazy about AI. And there's some amazing opportunities in the AI space, but having it override your relationship. You're a smaller mid-sized business owner. You're not a multinational corporation, right? You don't get to behave as that way. You don't get some of the things that go along with it. You have to know your lane and stay in it. And one of the greatest tools and advantages that you have is that you get to talk to your customer. You get some face-to-face, whether that's through you or through your sales team or through your marketing or whatever it is. You get to be the real you on that picture, in those videos, with that copy, right? And obviously use AI to clean up your copy, to do that kind of, but it has to be from you. You have to be demonstrating real competency from a real person so that the marketplace, which now, again, I don't care how good AI gets, it's not going to fool our detection methodology. It may on the surface, and we may even think it out loud going, oh my gosh, I couldn't tell that was real. Yes, you can. Women are the greatest bullshit indicators on the face of the planet. They know, right? Whether that's with a guy that they're dating or whether it's something. That's why I run a lot of stuff by my wife, because she can think of things and see things that I don't because of her, what they call women's intuition. Even, us guys, we know when something is BS. And it's not going to change drastically from that, especially in our space. Now, the last piece, as I am ready to get to the last piece, is that the standard has risen. I guess that's kind of the summary of all of these points, is the standard of expectation, the standard, the choices that people have to make decisions about your product and our service has risen. You have the rise of the PE firms taking over these local companies. Also an opportunity in the future to be A, acquired, and B, to be able to take some of that inventory of businesses as it comes back on the marketplace, because private equity, the ones that know what they're doing, they keep culture intact, which means that they keep their relationship, that tight relationship to that customer, in place. And the bad PE firms that don't know what they're doing, they take the culture out and fire people. And they have this, they run the company by the numbers. They kind of paint by numbers. And those businesses are failing at a super high rate for those private equity firms, because they take the soul out of the business. They take the relationship out of the business. They take everything that most companies are stuck doing right now. Most business owners are using technology to push themselves away from the most valuable asset they have, and that is the relationship that they have with their customer. Okay. So the standard has risen. You don't need luck. You don't need a miracle. You just need discipline and clarity. Clarity you should write that on a yellow sticky note, put it in your notes on your phone, whatever it is, but look for clarity. Don't look for confirmational bias in your business. Don't look for things where like, oh yeah, that one customer loved us. Well, she's your aunt and she had to love you, right? Find the people that were not satisfied with your product and their service, ask them questions, learn from that, and then modify your operational behavior so that you don't disappoint another customer and another customer. Used to be you pissed off a customer and they were probably a grumpy person in a neighborhood and they weren't really going to touch anybody. Now people have the internet. They can say whatever they want to, true or false. But if you disappoint a customer or enough of them, you're gonna find out. The most difficult thing for you to do is to get a customer to take the time to do a LinkedIn recommendation for you. To me, that's the gold standard of going and checking somebody out, whether they're real or whether they're not. But getting somebody to do that is incredibly difficult. It's incredibly difficult. I have, people that we talk to all the time. We've worked with them, or we worked with them years ago, and have a conversation, and I'll meet them. I'll see them in Hawaii, and they'll be like, "Oh my God," in front of my kids, they'll say, "You changed my life. The only reason we're here." And we can be in Hawaii at this beautiful hotel and be away from our businesses because of what your dad did. And you hear that, and I'm like, "Oh, that'd be cool, man. Can you just go to my recommendations on LinkedIn and say that?" And so there's probably 20 to 30 people that I'm still chasing to get them to say something nice in public on LinkedIn, because they're busy, and I don't hold it against them. But I can tell you that when you go and you find somebody's testimonials that have a name, a first name, a last name, a picture, the business they work for, a phone number, a DM, or an email to be able to communicate with those people, those are real, and they are real valuable, and they represent about 100 other businesses that person or business has done good things for. Now, on the other side of it is people that talk and speak out against some of these cult gurus that are out there, and they say, "Oh, this was I spent this and I didn't really get anything out of it," and that spreads kind of like wildfire. So you want to make sure that you are continually raising your standard to be able to serve your customer with your product or service all the time. So I've been through this. I know a number of you have been through this shift that we're seeing in the economy. They're all different. There's all different aspects, but the one common thing is that the only ability that we have, because we're not multi-billion dollar, multi-corporate, multi-lobbyist connected to, corrupt politician. That's not us. That's not us. We have to do with the tools that we have at our hands. And that is the ability to tell the truth, to be transparent, to love the outcome of our customer more than we love our own outcome, to be able to serve, to be able to innovate, to be able to be disciplined, to be able to, beat back our demons, to do all of the stuff that we as business owners have to do to run a successful business. That's where you fall back to. That's where you should be currently right now, is strengthening the inside of your home, which is your business, right? Strengthening it. I've also been the good enough, right? I'm doing a good enough job. I've also been that person. And I've also had 3 failures in my business. I've had a dictated exit, which is where I built a company that somebody actually wanted to buy, and sat down across the table from somebody who knew what they were doing, and got my ass handed to me in that transaction. And I also have spent years polishing and improving and raising the standards so that I could have what happened in 2019 for me, which was a custom tailored exit. It was something I saw 5 years before, and I built my businesses exactly for that person and that group that was purchasing me. And so now we get to help businesses skip a lot of garbage, skip a lot of wasted money, and be able to custom tailor their own exit. So I refuse to ever be one of those people that has an involuntary exit again, and also to have the price, timing, and terms of my exits in my businesses be dictated to me. I'm in the driver's seat because I have focused on learning, and that's exactly what you're doing, or else you wouldn't be here this morning. So some takeaways: opportunities are not going to shrink for you. The standards have just risen. Buyers, banks, and customers are migrating to tight operators. Not the busiest. Like, let's go back to what we were talking about. Banks, buyers, customers, they're not going to who's the busiest, because busy is a sign, and just saying it, and you might be busy, you might have a lot of things to do, but never transmit that to your customer. "Oh, I'm busy. I'm sorry I didn't get back to you." All they hear, all that translates into is you have too much business, you don't know what you're doing, and you don't give a shit about me. That's how it translates. Get the word busy out of your mouth. Get it out of your salespeople's mouth. Get it out of your operations people's mouth. Get it out of the culture of your business. Period. End of sentence. The middle is the real casualty. We talked about that. Cycle mirrors what was going on in the 80s. If you want to go back and do a little bit of research, the market no longer rewards effort. It provides and rewards professionalism. Not the busiest, not the oldest, not the ones with discipline. Clean, the ones with discipline, clean numbers, predictable performance. So let's wrap this up. Here's my belief, my 100% belief in where we set. You have the greatest opportunity in front of you. You have the greatest potential for your business, but you cannot. This is not one of those moments where you're like, well, I'll fix that stuff later. You've got to dive in. Like I said, with all of our free content, there's a lot of information you can get. There's lots of YouTube videos of other people. There's a lot of stuff, ChatGPT. You've got some things at your fingertips to help you start thinking through these processes. You have people that you can reach out to and hire. You have people in your own business, in your own city, that you can ask to go out for a meal and a coffee and say, hey, I'm struggling with this thing. How do I solve it? Now is not the time for you to rest on your pride and for you not to ask for help. Now is the time, the day, the minute that you should be asking for help for those things that you don't understand. You should be working in 4 quadrants: the relationship to your customer, tightening that, understanding your lifetime value, understanding your revenue per employee, understanding key metrics, and then not only understanding the metric, but how do you fix it? How do you drive it up? In that area of relationship to your customer. 2, you should be understanding, cleaning up your books in that quadrant so that you know what the company is saying to you, and so that you can transmit what the company's been doing to a potential buyer or growth or acquisition or whatever it happens to, whatever happens to be your strategy moving forward. 3rd piece is you've got to be building a management team that can run the company without you. And the 4th piece is get really crystal clear on your exit plan. You work on those 4 quadrants relentlessly over the next 3 years. I'm going to be getting DMs from you. We're going to be meeting in real life. You're going to be high-fiving me. You're going to be super happy that you decided today to not do what you did yesterday, for you to ramp up your intensity just a little bit, for you to ramp up your intellect just a little bit, for you to stop doing the things that you know you need to stop doing and start doing the things that you know you need to do. So that's my TED Talk for the day. It's great to be with you. I appreciate all of the attention that we're getting. I appreciate all of you people, all of the new people that are. It means so much to me and my team that this is growing. That the message of building your business to exit is growing. That you are all getting to know each other and do business with each other, and you're sharing tips and you're sharing strategies and you're sharing what works. That's what this is about. Right? We have a really great 5-year mission at Built to Exit based around the owner syndicate. You can watch a bunch of the other videos to know what that means. It just means that I want all of us to band together to make sure that what we are experiencing, that we didn't earn this opportunity to face down our demons and to change our stars for us and our family, that it exists not only for us for the rest of our lives, but also for the next generation. That's our responsibility. And that's our next 5-year mission. And I know a lot of you are joining on and linking up and linking arms with us. Again, I used to look at things through the lens of competition, on the consulting side or whatever businesses that I've owned. I look at the next 5 years as one of massive collaboration for those of us that are like-minded. I'm working with other consultants that don't carry our brand. I'm cheering them on, because the consultants and the coaches and all of the people that exist out there in business that are good at what they do, we need you all. Now, if you want to come in and get B2X certified, we have that opportunity for you. But other than that, we really need people that when they say they're going to help our small mid-sized business owner, they're not just doing it for their own pockets. They're not just doing it to fill stadiums. They're not just doing it to move funnel sales and all that kind of stuff. We genuinely need the men and women that are capable of increasing the information and the competitive edge for our small and mid-sized business owners. I need you all to be at top of your game. I need to know who you are. I don't mind referring business over to you when we have too much. I don't mind any of that. If we don't band together, there's going to be some serious issues and some serious loss of opportunities that we right now have the ability to make sure is maintained for us and for generations to come. So that's it. I love you all very much. I hope you have an amazing weekend, or whenever you watch this video, if you got it on, on YouTube or Spotify or any of the channels that we are now pumping this information out through. Thank you. Thank you for your trust. For all of us at Built to Exit at the corporate side, thank you for your time. Thank you for your trust, and execute on what you hear here. Even if you just change one thing every single week when we do this show, that means that you're going to be changing 52 things in your business over the course of a year. Last announcement, we will be doing a plan for next year episode. I'll let you all know if you watch the socials on all those things. I'll let you know when that's going to be. It's going to be kind of a special deal. We did this for years and then we stopped doing it. And we've gotten some calls to bring it back. So we're going to do that so that you enter next year super prepared and super ready to go and super ready to kick ass for you and your family. I love you all very much. Kick ass. I'm so grateful that you own a business. I'm so grateful that you have employees. I'm so grateful that you have a hope and a dream for yourself, that this thing called small business, owning your own company, small, mid-sized, large, doesn't really matter. I'm so grateful for the fact that you exist, because if you didn't exist, I wouldn't exist. And there wouldn't be opportunity for millions of people, 33 million of us here in the United States alone, to be able to change the stars for us and our family. Have an amazing week, and we'll see you next Saturday, same bat channel, same bat time at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have an amazing Thanksgiving, y'all. Enjoy your family, enjoy the blessings, and I wish nothing but great things for you over the course of the next year. Talk soon. Peace.